Today we have Ghost Kids. Task is up here speaking for Ghost Kids. So if you want to give a little background on yourself and Ghost Kids, go ahead.
Oh my God, that is like an all-encompassing question. How like deep dive do you need me to go here? Are we like surface level dwellers, or am I going like into the deep depths in the weeds here?
Yep, deep depths.
Oh, gross. All right, okay. Deep depths, dude. Okay, we'll go with me first, because Ghost Kid is technically my first successful project that I've kind of worked on that actually paid me anything. Funny enough, Tardo's up here. Before I did anything with GKD, we tried to derug a project twice, called Wolf Friends Club, and that's kind of where we met. And Tardo was part of like the original team that I kind of came in with. There's other individuals like, for example, Zap, who is now leading So Dead through their third rendition of a rug, who was part of that team as well. And then there's people like Dev Tonic, who works on Dark Skellies on like obviously the dev side, hence the name, who we knew from before as well. I don't know. There were people that came from that. It's very interesting like dynamic because we tried to like derug this thing and then we got lied to, and then like I stumbled upon GKD and got some of the boys in, and they kind of just like went from there. We went nuts. I mean, Zap and Tardo were both mods for a very long time on GKD for the first 4 to 6 months. They did a lot for us in the very beginning, and like my journey in NFTs, that was like my first like portion of actually getting into the eco that was beyond like one of one NFTs. Because before I was like I was involved in like one of one pixel communities on Solana, and like that was how I ended up getting involved with NFTs in general. Was like one of one pixel communities and community building. And I don't know if anybody has ever up here has ever heard of Zeno or Xenom, but he definitely gave me a little bit of a platform to like speak on things and helped kind of onboard me in certain aspects of the space. And after the one of one community and like the way that community building is over there, once again came to the double rug, and that's kind of history. Stumbled upon GKD and just like pushed the community from there. But I'm gonna let Tardo with his yellow hand go.
Yeah, no. If finding tasks through that D-Rug was crazy because I didn't even mint the NFT. I just kind of luckily got there. But task from the start, even before he joined Ghost Kid as an official team member, he was getting all of his boys in Ghost Kid. I remember us Ghost Kid shopping, so it's crazy to see it come full circle.
Yeah, it is pretty cool to see everybody at the point that they are now. We've all kind of done our own little thing, but it was honestly on the back of like learning from GKD and like what that whole vibe was about for sure. Like there were a lot of things I know Tardo took from GKD in order to run the project that he's currently running, which is the Mecha Race. I know that Zap took a lot away from like community building and how that kind of worked on GKD over to So Dead being DGen Mint at the time as well. And now, luckily, they have the full keys to the franchise over there, so there shouldn't be any more issues that way over there. But realistically, everybody found some success that like I kind of brought along, and like that kind of spread into the community as well. There's a lot of individuals I think that were able to build a brand or some type of you know provide some type of value by being a part of Ghost Kid to the ecosystem. And I think that's like inevitably one of the largest value props that Ghost Kid's been able to provide overall is like allowing people a platform for themselves to kind of build themselves up in whatever way that they want and like get out there and have a positive influence on the space. And I think that's something that I'm very proud of, that I've been able to help a lot of people find a place and like them give back and provide value to the space by giving them a platform to kind of operate on. And like that to me is like the essence of GKD, at least from like my perspective and very early days, because I don't think there's a better fucking way to build a brand for the first 4 to 6 months after launch than buying a Ghost Kid and just saying, yo, Ghost Kid, what the fuck is up? And you just get absolutely smashed. So it definitely was a journey, and there's definitely things like I'd go back and certain things I'd do differently, but all in all, I mean, I wouldn't change anybody that I met or any of the things that we've been able to do that have created value in the space. I wouldn't change them for the world, because I think in essence that's what GKD really represents, is like providing positive value.
100%, bro. I'm just gonna add, since just the little time that I've been in GKD, this last week I've seen you guys support, I guess, small people, big people, artists, creators, and I just think that's really cool that you're using your community to help out others. And yeah, so how long has GKD been out?
I mean, Ghost Kids dropped in May. Dropped in May. May 8th was the day that it dropped. It was minted out by, if my memory serves me correct, by the 10th/11th. I remember when it minted out. Actually, I was still working at a daycare, because I worked with kids for 8 to 10 years before I worked in Web3, and I worked in a daycare. And I remember minting Ghost Kid. I had like 2.8 Sol in my wallet. That was it, because I still didn't know what I was doing. Like, I flipped my first NFT, which was a bot head, by the way, in like June of last year. So like I didn't sell anything. I just held it, because that's what you do when you're collecting art, and one-to-one art community before I did anything. So when I bought Ghost Kid, I didn't have like an excessive amount of funds at all, and like I had like 2.8 Sol, and I think I minted like 10 at the time. And like I remember like walking out of the classroom, and I'm like, fuck it, they're cute. I'm minting. I'm like max minting, and I literally just yeeted my entire Sol bag that I had at the time into Ghost Kids, which I think that was like $90 or something Sol at the time. So it wasn't like it wasn't like this shit that we deal with now. It was a little bit more expensive back then. So like 2.8 Sol was still 200 some bucks, and I just tossed it, just absolutely tossed it in GKD. And I ended up giving a lot of them away to like onboard. I know Shadow gave a lot of Ghost Kids away to onboard people as well, from the process at the beginning, just like targeting individuals to kind of come and vibe and get into the community. I think that's really what you have to do, and that's like a benefit that you get from like a small mint, because like you can mint some NFTs and you can give them away, because like it wasn't excessive to mint them. You see these mints nowadays, and obviously the degen era is gone because of royalties and the changes to that. And it's like a different vibe, right? Like there isn't anything like that, and who knows if that's that meta will probably come back one day. I don't know how, but probably will. But everything now, it's not like you can just like mint an NFT for 5 Sol or 4 Sol, 3 Sol, and just be like, yeah, I'm gonna give some away to onboard people. It doesn't really work that way. The degen era was kind of built different, for sure, in that essence, because you could definitely target people that you wanted in the community and like give it away. And I mean, I gave away a good 10, 11 NFTs, just because there were specific people that I identified in the community that I wanted involved, and just gave them NFTs. I wasn't even on the team when I was giving away NFTs, to be honest. I ended up on the team after like 2.5 weeks, I think. There was a moderator called Cheese that love that fucking guy. His name was Cheese, and he was one of the original mods that was on there from Ghosty Shadow. And he did a lot of stuff in other communities as well. I mean, I know he was like a mod slash raid leader, because there were raid leaders back then in Weeping Angels, and he did some other stuff as well. But he onboarded me, which is great. And after about, I don't know, like 2 weeks after I was made a mod, I think they promoted me to community manager, and that was kind of the rest is kind of history. They allowed me to kind of build the community and do what I wanted with that in terms of the way that I wanted it built, and here we are. Here's GKD at its, I would say, at almost its finest hour. I mean, shit, we just minted out a second collection for a huge capital raise, which is going to be integral to the next 4 to 6 months for development purposes. We just hired a couple devs, which is great. Um, they had to take some time to learn the coding and everything from our previous dev. So things have been going slightly slower than anticipated, but we got them on track, we believe now. There's definitely a few things coming on both collections here that we're very excited about. I definitely went on a tangent there, so feel free to interrupt me anytime.
Bullish. But nah. So I wanted to ask, because you brought up your first NFT, DZ and Tardo. What were your first NFTs? DZ or Tardo, you can go first. I don't know if DZ's here. I don't know.
Uh,
Oh, he's
My first NFT would have been on the Polygon blockchain. It's either called a Boodle Bear or a Cyborg Wolf. But my first Solana NFT was probably my first Solana NFT was this project called Art Monkeys that I ended up flipping when Solana was like $150 from 1 to 2 souls. So that was a nice gain, and it was like crazy for me because I was young.
Bullish on Boodle Bears.
DZ, go ahead.
My first NFT on Ethereum was the humanoids. I had gotten 3 of those. It was before the bull. It was just before like the top of the bull market. Back in the top, and I had bought in some humanoids at like point oh, I think 0.12 or 0.13 Ethereum, and I had sold one for like 3 Ethereum at the top of the top, and that was like my best like win from NFTs, and everything after that was a loss. But then after I moved from Ethereum, I came to Solana. I lost with a project called Soul Satans, which some people may or may not know about. But yeah, that was my first Solana project. But since then, things have been better.
Yeah, my first NFT was a dope cat. March 2nd of last year, I bought my first dope cat. I see Janko down there. That's actually where I met him. He's a W guy. One of my good friends in Web3. Also, just thought of it. If you have any questions, go up to the top of the space, click that tweet, and just leave some comments of your questions, and we'll get to them before the end of the space. So, why did GKD? Well, you didn't really launch GKD, but do you know why they picked Soul?
I think that's just inevitably the way, like overarchingly, Shadow Ghosty and I, we all have certain opinions on things, but realistically, we're all here for the same reason, and it's like building something that can potentially help people. That's always been like in the overarching ethos. I think that's one of the reasons why I put so much time and effort into getting this to where it is now. I guess you could say is simply because the goal of GKD was to like change people's lives in some form or fashion in a really community centric way. And I do believe, especially the OGs know, like things were put into perspective and things changed for the majority of people that entered GKD in the sense of, well, for one, I mean, you got a one hell of an investment. Looking at it at the price at the time, it was $3.50 to mint or purchase a GKD very early on. And I mean, you're basically at a almost 100x right now, which is, I mean, think about it. If you'd minted a ton of them, that's potentially life changing. If you want to offload one or two, I mean, that's great. Like the point is to allow people to kind of profit off of the project. I think that's what you have to do as an NFT project. Like people can sell. I think that's great. Like people are making money. That's a plus. It sucks when they like buy and then it goes down, and obviously there wasn't like conviction and they sell, panic sell. But I mean, that's inevitably like the market in general. It's not just GKD. Like you see that in every NFT project. But when it comes to the value that we were able to give back, and once again going back to like brand building and the social aspect of things and the people that you kind of met and networked through GKD was, I think it's second to none, especially for like the price point that you're able to get in for the OGs for sure. I still think that is very good. I think the issue we run into now, because I'd like to say that GKD's Discord is still popping, but it's not. People pop in, they say hello. We talk for a little bit. There's some great conversations that go on there, but it definitely isn't like the early days. And I think that's like the issue of we had such a great community, and we've done so many things with the raid to earn, which is inevitably a very small part of what we do now. But we did a lot of things with the raid to earn, and what happens is if there's a raid to earn project or a project that comes to us and they purchase a raid to earn a package in some form or fashion, I mean, the community members sometimes will inevitably like join the community and vibe with the project. I think that, and then like they put their time into that, or they decide that they've gained these skills or they've met these people through GKD and they go do their own thing. So like they spend less time in Ghost Kids. So I really think that there are a lot of Ghost Kids out there that ended up going and making something of themselves, which I'm very proud once again to say, because like that to me is like the ethos of GKD, is to allow people to do more. And that's what I want to continue to do on GKD.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you were saying, nah, we'll get the rate to earn in a second. So you want to talk a little bit about staking and what you can do with this token Boo?
Yeah, man, I can talk about that a little bit. I mean, there's a lot of different things for the value prop of Boo. Boo has always been kind of a focus for us in the ecosystem of GKD. It's seen its ups and downs. Definitely in this market, like tokens are the first thing to go because they're more liquid than NFTs or the assets that we purchase on chain for digital collectibles. So realistically, like most tokens are down in this type of market, and Boo isn't adverse to that. Like that's 100% a thing. But what you can kind of earn with it, first of all, through staking, we actually had a halvening, if you would call it that, which there's another one coming in. Let me look here, the amount of days until the next one when it kind of halves. So we have 167 days until the next Boo halvening. And what that means is the amount of output from each NFT gets cut in half. Before, an upgraded Ghost Kid was able to earn 30, non-upgraded earned 15. And in January, I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, January, December, early January, December, we cut it so that upgraded earned 15 and then non-upgraded earned 7.5 a day. You can utilize that for a variety of things that's kind of out there on our software as a service tool suite. I mean, realistically, you can use it for the classics, the raffles, the shop that we have. That's more point based, but which we also have points in terms of that. It's like an in-game currency, if you want to call it, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But you can do the raffles. We have a casino suite that you can utilize the token on. We have the Weeball system, which is like a lottery system you can use Boo on. And we have the DTM, or the DGen toy machine that we have through Reptilian Renegade. That's skin for us that we do in both Boo and Soul, depending on what we put in there. And we just had one actually, which is great. Some people want some stuff. I lost 10K Boo right before it pumped last night. It was great. It's kind of funny because I bought it really low and I'm like, yeah, dude, like this is a really good time to snag Boo. Well, somebody else thought the same thing, and then it pumped directly after, which is great. But then people sold, and like I said, tokens are much more liquid. It's hard to like hold a secure price on things like that. But there's a variety of things in the future too that are going to be implementing Boo. Like think of the incubator. There's going to be portions of Ghosts that are going to be able to mint projects that we launch off of or through our incubator program in Boo, which is great. They have to be upgraded. There's going to be some parameters around that because, originally it was like, yes, every upgraded Ghost is going to be able to mint in Boo on any incubator project. But realistically, when you think about it, like we can't have a project that's launching 3,000 NFTs mint all of their NFTs in Boo because we have just over like I think we have like 3.4K upgraded Ghost Kids out of 5K, somewhere around that number. So like we can't just be like, yeah, that'll work. So we've definitely had discussions on how to remedy that because it's not something that's actually viable, but we're still kind of working it out. But we definitely have future plans for incubator mints. Maybe it'll be some sort of implementation into the whole kind of bounty system that we have for engagements. Who knows? There's things that have been thrown around. But Boo is always going to be integral to the value prop of GKD. We want to make sure that the token is taken care of as the collection itself. And like Boo is always going to be a good kind of bet, in my personal opinion, because everything that we do has to do with Boo. So why not just grab some Boo?
So as he said, there is a LP. What kind of prizes are in the DTM?
Plenty of things. I mean, we can pick any specific NFTs that we want. I mean, hell, I even won one time. I won a pilot once. I spent like 16 soul, but it was like 30 soul at the time, so it's fine. Because you can end up spending a lot or a little, and sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. That's the gamble. But that's like that's like the one thing I've ever won. I've spent plenty on the DTM and haven't won, and people have spent like nothing on the DTM and won a lot. And like those guys got a horseshoe up their ass, and good for them. I don't win a lot very often, so I don't gamble very often for sure. But in terms of like the LP and the way that kind of looks, I mean, Boo has always been a utility token. We've definitely had discussions about like adding certain aspects of liquidity to it, but something we've always wanted to stay true to is the fact that it is technically a utility token. the pool on Radium is technically community led. I know that Shadow's got a little bit in there to help like prop it up, but it's not from the project itself. It's from his personal bags, and me myself as well have a couple personal bags that I have invested in there. I think I have like 13 or 14% of the pool, and I've just never taken it out, so it's just chilling. I don't know. The pool is very much community led. Like there's not an excessive amount that anybody on the team has in there. A lot of our whales help out with that. A lot of it was taken out as well. I mean, we had almost 9 or 10K in there as a utility token for an LP, just community led, and a lot of it got taken out for the Anon mint because you can mint in Boo, and it inevitably dropped, and I think it's currently sitting around like 4K roughly. That's in there total, which is, I think it's fine. It's not the best, it's not the worst. I think it's just fine. Once again, not a true, LP based token. It is very much a utility token. You got to almost think of it as like an in-game currency. Yes, it can be traded on the open market, but that's kind of how we view it, is like an in-game currency for the application that we have and how you kind of interact with our ecosystem.
Yeah. Also, you said about incubators. You want to explain a little bit more about what an incubator is?
Sure. I mean, an incubator at the end of the day is a fancy way of saying a launch pad that launches less projects than usual. It's not in the way where we're going to be launching 10, 20 projects in a month or two. It's definitely going to be geared more towards like the development of the project, where we provide things like community support, marketing, advising, even like art advising, and like how to like kind of deal with color schemes and so on and so forth, and different partnerships associated to that, as well as we have a partnership with Magic Eden. So if you're going to go through our services, you'll get to launch off of Magic Eden, and then all you really have to do, there's like a fee that we take, and we've kind of worked it out with Magic Eden where it ends up being very close to what ME would take anyway. And then there's a portion of the collection that you would mint in Boo. It's not like, once again, still kind of working on that aspect, because the original model is just like not sustainable, because you can't expect in this market a 4K collection to mint 3.2K of their supply in Boo. It just doesn't make sense. So different things have been theorized, and we've definitely identified multiple projects that we are looking forward to working with and helping launch in the coming months. One of which I think will be announced. I'm not going to say soon, but it will be announced in a relative amount of time, that I'm pretty excited for. We got to see some sneak peeks about it the last couple days, which is cool. And I'm excited to kind of see where the second launch of the incubator kind of goes, because obviously our first one was Anon, where we minted a 10K collection for 3 Sol after some changing around of the strategy initially. And we still were able to raise just under like 400K as like a seed phase to kind of give not only our team, but the project and business itself, which is now a registered entity under Ghost Foundation in Dubai, actual funds to create every goddamn thing we have on our list, because we had one hell of a list, but when you only have 20 grand, you can only do so much.
Yeah. So I should just ask this before. What's like all the benefits of holding a GKD?
Oh man, I definitely went through a huge portion of that.
Yeah. My bad.
You're good. I would say the main value props right now for GKD is, one, you have one hell of a supportive community still that shows up on a daily basis to make sure that new holders are welcomed and that they actually feel as though they're being taken care of when they come into the Discord and on socials. You get kind of like a little ghost cradle when you join the community, and you get to kind of see what the vibe's all about. There's obviously the tool suite, or the gamified platform that we have, that's going to be seeing a variety of updates in the coming months to improve user experience and add on even more tools for not only projects to purchase and white label and utilize in the space, but also individuals to kind of have a little bit more fun with. So that's kind of the main value props I think it has. Obviously, there's plenty of things that we do on a daily basis in Discord that you can kind of key into and jump in on. Obviously, we have our community spaces that we run. Today's not Wednesday, is it? No, it's Tuesday. Thank God. Okay, so we have our Wednesday space. We have our Wednesday spaces at 7 p.m. EST that I run that that's specifically for projects to kind of pitch their stuff on the space, which it ends up usually being a pretty good space. It usually runs for like an hour and 40 minutes, and most ghosts kind of end up finding like pretty decent projects through it. I try not to bring on like anything too sus. I'm usually pretty good at sniffing it out. So if it's sus, I'm like, yeah, no, we're not gonna bring you up. Sorry, and that's kind of the end of that. But if it is something that has potential value, I mean, you can find things pretty early on through that, because there's a lot of communities that come to us, because it's kind of crazy when you really think about it, because a lot of communities do at like the forefront when they're starting to build something, like where they're going, like they're coming to GKD because we have the social power to kind of start them. And I think that's like a very undervalued thing about GKD, is that like they don't go to these other projects. They come to GKD because they know that it's going to be able to push it to different corners of the space with a good, loud, and proud community that actually wants to help it out if it has true value to it. So I think that's very slept on, and like there's more obviously that you can participate in, but realistically, I mean, repping a ghost at this point, just like anything else, I think is an identity that you kind of have, whether you joined early or you joined late. It's something that you want to be a part of, and I think it, like in essence, that's what you want when you're looking at an NFT project. Like you want somewhere to belong, you want somewhere that you can kind of go back to and feel safe, and you want somewhere that's going to be very warm and welcoming to you as a person when you're trying to build connections and find value in the space for yourself and provide value beyond that. So that's GKD in a nutshell, man. And I know I went through a couple doubles there, but I hope that kind of answered your question.
Yeah, it did, bro. I was gonna say, when you look for, well, when I look for an NFT project to invest in, I always like a community. And when the first time you hop into, say, that Discord or that space, and like if you get good vibes, then there's a better chance of putting my money into that project. But if there's bad vibes, probably not. Um, so you were talking about upgrading, Ghost. What's needed to upgrade your Ghost?
Oh, you just need 1,150 boo, and then you need a potion, which is on Magic Eden. You just look up Ghost Kid Dow potion, and you snag up one of those. You drink that puppy, and then you turn into a different colored ghost. Which, by the way, you'll be able to inevitably you'll be able. There's going to be some kind of innovative ways that you can do this that we're implementing into future seasons for bounties that Shadows talked about a little bit. So I think I can talk about it, and I'm going to. So what we're going to do is we're going to allow you to kind of swap out your traits in some form or fashion, especially for the OGs out there that miss their OG ghosts, because I hella know that there's certain ones that I 100% miss and want back on some of my NFTs that I love. And if I didn't know that they would be going back, like I probably never would have switched them. But I've been saying that we were going to implement something like this in the future a long time ago, because there was a lot of demand for it. And there's going to be more that you can kind of switch to. There's going to be like a third rendition. There's going to be like specific ones that come out during the seasons. Think like Fortnite, right? Fortnite, you have seasons and there's like new skins every time. So it's going to be available for, I guess, earning through the battle pass that we have on there, because obviously we have a gamified battle pass. I didn't mention that earlier, but we have a gamified battle pass that you can earn as you go, as you gain more EXP by participating on the platform for social engagements. And then you earn EXP, you go up the leaderboard, and there's also something called Crew Clash. Crew Clash is something we implemented last season that we're going to continue to expand on. It's basically our sub DAOs. There were 14 of them that participated last session. The top three were the ones that were rewarded. So everybody that was part of the top three within a certain amount of time, if you had a certain amount of points, you were rewarded, and that was great. They were given this time Solana rewards, which we have done in the past for previous seasons as well. But there's going to be more rewards added on in the future, which is going to be great. The closet feature is just like an added bonus where you're going to have, like, it's basically going to be, you have so many different ways to kind of customize your ghost. And I know they're very simple and clean kind of pixel PFPs, but I'm very excited to see what Shadow kind of conceptualizes and comes up with, because he was the artist for GKD, and he's doing the art for future renditions and different things as well. So I'm excited to see where that ends up going. And you'll be able to swap out any trait that you specifically want that is in your closet for Boo. So it's just going to be a little bit of Boo off the top every time you want to switch, and you'll be able to customize whenever you want.
W, that sounds sick. I need to upgrade my ghost. Maybe tonight. So how about you explain a little bit about bounties?
I'll explain a little about. I feel okay. Let me go here. You're making me backtrack here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, bounties is how do you want me to explain it? You want me to talk about how I feel about it, or do you want me to talk about the actual things? Because I kind of already went into the actual
Yeah,
things
you
that are
did.
available on it.
How do you feel about bounties? Like, do you how do you feel that it brings value to the project in, I guess, that way?
Well, I think it brings a lot of value to the project in general. It's the thing we've kind of built our entire brand around, right? And inevitably, when we end up going cross chain, I think that just gives it even more value as well to communities that want to utilize it that are out there. I mean, we have a process in the future where we're going to be able to provide it more readily that I'm not going to be able to get into here tonight, but it's an exciting thing to think about. A lot of the projects that are out there that are going to be and currently powered by GKD and what we're able to do. And I think it's a fantastic tool. I mean, there's a lot of tools that are out there that people will be like, yeah, we got this, we got that. It looks great on paper. And, the beta test that they show on paper looks good. And then it comes out and it's got a ton of bugs. It's really buggy. Not to say that Boonties doesn't have bugs, because it sure does. And there's still things that we work on to this day that kind of pop up on a random basis. But, there's a lot of different interactions going through the platform pretty consistently that definitely like muddy the waters in certain instances if you want to put it in like a non-dev term. So there's things that definitely need to still be worked on. But in terms of like the actual application, I think it's one of the cleanest on Solana. I don't think you can really dispute that.
Yeah, I couldn't unmute myself for some reason. Gotta love it. So you or Ghost Kids and Anon are under the same, I don't want to say company, but under the same
Yeah,
family, I guess. So
it's under the company.
so like how is Anon contributing to GKD, and how is GKD contributing to Anon?
Yeah, good question. So Anon conceptually is supposed to be very different from GKD. If we wanted it to be like GKD, we could have introduced our entire tool suite directly to Anon day one. That's not what we wanted. It's not supposed to be a Ghost Kid V2. It's supposed to be its own separate entity that builds its own separate tools that provides value to the holders that are participating in it in a different way than GKD. And what it did for the overarching business, though, was allows for that capital raise, because realistically, we had about 20 grand that we ran on for X amount of time to put GKD in the best position possible. And money runs out, and we were already running on fumes when you really think about it. I mean, there's projects out there that raise hundreds of thousands of even up to millions of dollars that don't end up, providing as much value that I think GKD has on the backs of the community. And that's why I'm diehard. I'll fucking do anything for anybody in the community at any time, because it wouldn't have been possible without them. So what Anon does is it allows us more runway to kind of build the things that we've conceptualized, not only for GKD, but also for the future Anon holders that we have for that project, because it is supposed to be conceptually different than GKD.
Yeah. So does Ghost Kids have plans for any IRL products? Because I feel like Ghost Kid as a brand would be sick on like some shirts, sweatshirts, even socks.
Yeah, dude, I'm definitely getting me some ghosty socks. That's 110%. And yes, the branding aspect of things is, yeah, 100%, man. I mean, Ghost Kid and Anon are both going to be fantastic brands for the future. I think there's going to be plenty of people that want to represent. There's a pipeline 110 for merchandise to be coming out in the next few months. Shadow has already ordered a couple, I guess, prototypes, you could say, of different merchandise items from Fox Club, which is a provider that's in Web3 right now. They're great. They have fantastic products. They're very attentive.
Yeah, I had them on the podcast already.
Years as well that has to do with merchandise. So they definitely have like a good value prop that way, and they're providing like a niche issue that's been an issue for a long time in the space, which is like a successful and potent merchandiser that actually.
DZ, is he rugging for you?
Yeah.
Okay, Task, we can't even hear you right now. So, yeah, I'll just entertain a little bit.
Am I still here?
Oh man, it's like you sound like a robot.
That's because my. Okay. But I'm here on the GKD account, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Where was I? Yeah, long story short, before I just continue to ramble on, I'll come back on the task account. But realistically, yeah, there's merchandise 100% coming. Our first merch drop didn't go explicitly as planned because we had some issues related to the actual provider and like getting it out to people in certain areas of the world. Because one thing that GKD has, which I don't think a lot of other communities have, is like we literally have people from all over the world, and we have people from all over the world because it was built. It's just like built different. Like there's so many people that jumped in from all over the place and just wanted to be a part of the community at the very beginning, and many of them stayed. And I believe that that's one of the things that's really cool about GKD. So it didn't work very well for merch though. There were a lot of places that couldn't deliver the original provider that we had, and now where we are, we've been able to find somebody that can do that. So hell yeah, we're excited about merch. I mean, I'm going to be buying some up for sure.
So, do you know if it's gonna be like print on demand, or is it gonna be printed in bulk size and be limited to a specific amount?
It's going to depend on the product itself. Some of it will be available for purchase. Others will be on demand. I'm not going to like commit to anything because we have to just see how each launch goes anyway. But the goal is one day to just have a shop that people can purchase from.
Yeah. So now we get into a couple fun questions. So what's like what's been your favorite part about Web3?
Oh boy, hold on. Am I robot-y?
Hey, Task is back.
Am I good? Am I plus? Okay, I missed the question because I was putting on my headset.
Oh, I said now we're getting into a couple fun questions. So what has been your favorite part about, being in Web3?
My favorite part about being in Web3, the ability to work more freely. I mean, if you can provide value in the space, it allows you a lot of freedom to put your energy into something that you want to do. So that's definitely been the number one thing that I think Web3 has allowed me to do is like flourish in my ideals, and provide value to those ideals strictly through like work ethic, which I think is what you have to do if you want to make it in the space, is actually put in the effort to make it in the space. Nobody's going to do it for you, and you can make plenty of connections that can help you along the way. And I think that's probably number two, is like the networking opportunity. There's nowhere like Web3 right now. Even if we're all down bad, even if plenty of people are having issues across the board on chain, even if banks are collapsing before our eyes and taking away our money and our pegs, there's still opportunities for people to network. There's still opportunities for people to connect. There's still people that can create their own jobs or find a job or find somewhere that they can go and provide value and get value back from. And I think that's what Web3 in essence is about.
I always tell people about, if you put the work in the space, actually, if you put the work in anything, you'll get a good result. And especially in the space, you'll get the result that you're looking for, hopefully, 99% of the time. But hey, sometimes things don't work out, and, you just got to pick yourself back up and keep going. My favorite thing about Web3 has to be either connections or opportunities. I say this in every space. It's, me being my age, not many kids my age are doing what I'm doing and have the opportunities of what I'm doing because they're not in Web3. Web3 has opened up so many things for me and so many places I can take myself farther every single day. And it's just been, Web3's been wild. Actually, it's been a year now. So very thankful for Web3. DZ, you want to take that question as well? Like, what's your favorite thing about Web3?
My favorite thing about Web3 is community, and it always has been. I love being a part of something greater, and I love to connect and vibe and get outlooks from other people, and I love to learn and just talk with other culture. I just like to learn and be around people. So community's the number one thing that I love about Web3 and how easy it is to connect with somebody over something so simple as an NFT or crypto or anything. I mean, the kind of conversations and feelings and friendship that I've gotten just from people through Web3 is crazy. I mean, it's a cool way to connect, and I think that it brings people together and it makes people realize that we have a lot more in common than we think.
100%, bro. Go ahead, Task.
Thanks, DZ. Fantastic fucking take. Completely agree with that. I had to give my third though. Shout out fucking Ghost Kid DAO Family Friday, baby. That's my third favorite thing about Web3. You know it. It's fucking vibes every single time. I love hanging out with the family. I love the banter that goes on. I love the alpha that gets dropped, and it's probably my favorite thing. That shit, I'm gonna plug right here. That goes on at 1 p.m. EST every Friday. And it's a fun space every single time. I love everybody that's able to come up and kind of talk and chat with us. We're just there to vibe, and I think that is like a great way to understand like the essence of GKD is to come to a Ghost Kid Family Friday.
That shit was wild. But yeah, I joined Ghost Kid Family Friday last week, and it was a very fun space. Met a lot of cool people, and that's where I met. Wait, what's his name? Starts with an S. Founder. Can never think of it. Hold up. What's the founder's name? Shadow. Thank you. Man,
yeah, he's a bozo.
Yeah, that's bad looks for me though. That's embarrassing. It's okay though. So, what's been like the hardest challenge of building and getting Ghost Kid out to other people?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge is like the identity that's assigned to you from the very beginning. That's for us. That's rating, right? Like there's three things that people say when they talk about GKD. If they don't really know about it or they know a little bit about it, they say, "Oh yeah, you guys raid," or "Oh yeah, you guys have a strong community," or they say, "Oh yeah, you guys did Ghost Kid Flood Friday. You did Flood Friday." It's one of those three every single time. And I think that's probably the hardest is like taking that identity and telling and showing people that you do other things. Like rating is definitely 100% part of our identity, but it's definitely not even close to everything that we do. And I think that's been the hardest thing on Ghost Kid is to like show people that there's value beyond just us being a quote unquote raid community, because realistically there's a lot of other projects that haven't built jack, and Ghost Kid's built a lot, and we've provided a lot of positive value to the space, which was again the goal from the very beginning. And we're not just here to raid. Obviously social engagements are important, but we have plenty of other things that can help projects and help people in the space beyond just raiding.
100%, bro. I love not being able to unmute. DZ, do you have any questions for Task or about Ghost Kids or Task about himself?
No, man. Task, you're a cool guy. Ghost Kid DAO, Ghost Kids in general, they have an awesome community. I remember when Ghost Kids were getting hyped about the placement on, I think there was the race car, if I'm not mistaken. I remember that
Yeah,
shit back in the day.
that's crazy.
When it first started, dude, I never bought a Ghost Kid, bro. I'm the ultimate fader. I don't know why. I should probably just bury myself now, but it's okay, dude. I'm working on it. All right. I'm down right now a little bit on Soul, so I'm trying to grind it out and build it up and stack it up. I'm making crazy bets and I'm opening leverage trades that I think will work out, and we'll see if we can get.
Good luck, brother, and we'll be happy to have you. Obviously, like we're wide open for anybody that wants to join, and it's okay. If you've just supported us by mouth and been like, yeah, Ghost Kid's a cool community, that's good enough. Like we're just here to do what we do. If you want to be a part of it, you can be a part of it. If you want to support from the sidelines, feel free. I mean, there's plenty of projects that I support from the sidelines that I don't have, and it is what it is.
I definitely want to be a part of it, working on it before it goes to fucking 100 million Soul, and I'm priced out. So I'm trying to work on it right now.
Dude, I like making people FOMO. We're at 94% staked, and we have been for a while, and that number just keeps going up and up, man. I mean, 5K collection, 94% staked. One day, I mean, Jelly Rascals, when they got to 98, when they were at 10, that's when they popped. I mean, you got 4% left, baby.
Bro, I remember. Oh man, when I saw some ghost kids under like 9, even 10. I was like, okay, now I'm selling some stuff to buy one, and then it dipped under like it was like under 9. It was like 8.5, and I was like, oh, okay, yep, I'm sweeping, or I'm sweeping mine, not sweeping, maybe sweeping one day, we'll see. But you know, it's been fun. I have another space in like 20 minutes with Alpha Pharaohs, so task, if you want to, you know, close out the space with any, you know, words, DZ, then you, then me, and then DZ will play a song. Sounds good?
Absolutely, boss. I don't have too many words. As always, I just want to thank the fam for pulling through. There's going to be plenty of listeners as well. Like I said, there's people in all different time zones. So generally, they go back and they listen, which is cool. And that's a plus. But I do appreciate everybody that showed up today. I love you all. You know, I'd do anything for you. Ghost Kid for fucking life. Let's just try and continue on as we have been and show everybody what we got. And hopefully that allows us to continue on as we have and to keep building cool shit and coming out with stuff that's innovative in the space, because I think inevitably that's what we've been able to do so far, and the plans aren't going to change. So thanks for having me on, and I appreciate the time.
Of course, Task, you know that. I remember trying to get you on the real ones. That was my old podcast. I remember trying to get you on, but go ahead, DZ.
Are we closing out?
We are. I wouldn't hold on. Let me say something, and then we'll go. I just want to say, you know, thank you, everyone, for coming and listening today. I hope to see you guys in my next space in 20 minutes. I'll put out a tweet soon. Thank you, Taz, for coming on. Ghost Kids is a W community, and I'll see you guys in 20 minutes. Peace.